This is our news, the weekend edition, and on the broadcast tonight. Government's new proposed NHI plan gets a stamp of approval from the acting Director of Labour. Plus, the Progressive Liberal Party's deputy leader weighs in on unions' threat of industrial action. And can the country meet its renewable energy target set out in the National Energy Plan?
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. As government irons out the details of the new National Health Insurance Plan, the acting Director of Labour, John Pinder, says he supports the proposed 2% tax that comes along with the new plan, regardless of if it will end in a hit to the employers' pockets. With more on the story, here's our Gillian Gray.
The proposal to charge a 2% payroll tax to fund universal health care has been met with much opposition, with many claiming the proposal will not benefit the employer or employee. Acting Director of Labour John Pinder said though the proposal may cost employers more, it's for the greater good of the country.
Yeah, it may cost the employer to have to lose that 2%, but hey man, if you've been making millions all these years, if you get losing the 2% right now until things catch back up, so be it.
According to the NHIA proposal, employees could pay up to $42 per month, depending on their income, with their employer paying the balance. The opposition said it will not support the new tax, calling it too much to bear in the wake of a 60% increase in value-added tax. Many have foreshadowed that employers would downsize as a result of the new tax.
Employers, yeah, they will use any excuse sometimes to downsize. I wouldn't say they won't try to downsize, but there's a process involving them downsizing. They'll have to certainly give us 7-day notice if it's 19 or more persons, 19 or less persons. If it's 19 or more persons, 20 or more persons, then they'll give us 2 weeks notice. If they're making these posts redundant, they can't reopen these posts with new names or the rest of that.
Pinder said if employers downsize, that won't do them any good.
Rather than taking a hit by 2% of your net profit, you rather just send people to social services or put them or cause them to be unemployed. What happens then? The old people always say that they was fighting for idle hands. So the same person who you put out of work, you end up finding yourself spending more money in trying to secure your home and trying to help people, because if the government have to increase the budget for social services, they didn't get it from. Same fellow who laying people off, you're taxing some more from his business, so he pays right back into the government and have taken the people who he laid off or disadvantage.
As for the entire proposal, the acting Director of Labour says he supports it as he feels it's needed.
I think it's something that's workable, and both sides will certainly benefit. Even the government will benefit because it'll have more revenue now to keep us on the cutting edge of medical technology, and I think that's what we need. We need to ensure that we have the necessary equipment and the necessary infrastructure to take care of the health needs of our citizens. That is something that is very, very needed. I mean, that's necessary. It's very necessary for us to have this healthcare plan, national health plan, to ensure that persons don't die for lack of finances, don't have the funds to, receive the type of services needed.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Gillian Gray.
All right, thanks a lot, Gillian. From the Labour sector tonight, Deputy Leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, Chester Cooper, says given the recent marches and industrial action by several unions, it's clear that there is growing unrest in the country.
There's been a lot of marching going on, and it just tells me that the Bahamian people are not pleased by one thing or the other.
Last month, hundreds of protesters marched from BPL's headquarters to Bay Street and then Rawson Square as they protested the high cost of living. Over the last few weeks, several major unions have highlighted issues that prompted a meeting with the Prime Minister and finance officials. Cooper says overall, he believes Bahamians are simply unhappy with how the country is being run.
It was the increase in the cost of living, the increase in taxes, the increases in electricity, and really general poor governance of the country. And we are seeing a growing unrest amongst the people. This is becoming a bit concerning for me. So early in the term, never have we seen such a decay in the goodwill given to a government in such a short period of time. This is alarming, and I believe they ought to be very concerned.
And in other news this evening, a dealer of electric cars says the Bahamas has a long way to go to hit its 30% renewable energy target by 2030. However, Pia Farmer says she's confident that it will happen. Our Jared Higgs has more.
I'm confident for many reasons, because it's happening around the world, so it's a wave that cannot be stopped.
The head of EZ Car Sales Eco Division says the Bahamas will need to work harder in order to meet the renewable energies targets set out in the country's national energy policy. However, Farmer says several factors will drive the country's progress.
Our energy costs for traditional electricity is just getting out of hand. I know LNG is coming into play, but that's not super clean either. And we have the sun for free. If you had a field of vegetables or fruits out there, wouldn't you go pick that fruit? Well, we have the sun. The only thing we have to do is put it through a channel, which is a solar panel, and have energy.
Industry stakeholders have slammed the growth of the renewable sector, with an IDB report outlining the Bahamas as the worst in the region for renewable energy penetration. Recent commitments by the Prime Minister have, however, encouraged Farmer, who says the need for more renewable energy solutions goes beyond local obligations.
We've made international commitments. We have to do it. We've said we've done it. And it's very good that the Prime Minister and his administration is committed to solar. You heard he said by 2021, the office of the Prime Minister is going to be completely solar, and all the cars parked in front are going to be electric. So that's huge.
Farmer says she gets paid for the extra energy she puts back into the grid through her solar systems. She says for more Bahamians to be able to take advantage of the emerging technology, better financial help needs to be available.
The problem is financing. Financing is going to be the key. We have to have some small microloans to allow people to do their own solar setups. We have to encourage banks to help people to get loans for solar. We have to encourage the laws to say when you build a new house, you ought to have, solar panels, and that could be rolled into your mortgage so that it's not a separate loan. We have to start thinking differently because it's a different world.
In November, BPL officials revealed that they would soon release RFPs for renewable energy options, with BPL CEO Whitney Hasty revealing that some providers have promised that they can get renewable energy solutions online in 6 to 8 months. Reporting for our news, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right, we will take our first break here, but still ahead tonight, we'll tell you about a resort community development on the island of Eleuthera that's positioning itself to be a standout. That story and more when our news, the Weekend Edition, returns.